Hello friends, welcome to Psychology Academy. In this video, we will talk about chapter number 2, class 12, personality. What is personality? Personality generally refers to appearance of an individual. Okay, हम जैसा देखते हैं एक इंसान को, उसके हिसाब से हम वो पर्सनालिटी उसकी जज करते हैं. तो ये तो हो गया एक जनरल लेमैन लैंग्वेज में पर्सनालिटी क्या होती है. But if we talk about the psychological term of personality, it refers to our characteristics way of responding to individuals and situations. हमारा अपना तरीका एक इंडिविजुअल को रिस्पॉन्ड करने का या एक सिचुएशन में रिस्पॉन्ड करने का, उसको कहते हैं हमारी पर्सनालिटी. अब ये पर्सनालिटी टर्म आया कहाँ से? पर्सनालिटी टर्म आया वर्ड पर्सोना से. पर्सोना जहाँ पे the mask used by actors in Roman theatre for changing their facial makeup. वो बेसिकली जिस कैरेक्टर को प्ले करते थे उसका मास्क पहनते थे so that their character changes to a particular character. After putting up mask, audience expected to perform a role in a particular manner. जिस इंडिविजुअल का या जिस कैरेक्टर का वो मास्क पहनते थे तो वो थिएटर करने जाते थे, वहाँ पे लोग उनसे ये एक्सपेक्ट किया जाता था कि वो उसी का कैरेक्टर प्ले कर रहे हैं. It did not, however, mean that the person enacting the given role necessarily possessed those qualities. But that is not the way कि अगर आपने कोई एक पर्टिकुलर कैरेक्टर का मास्क पहना हुआ है तो आप एक्चुअल में भी उसी इंसान के जैसे होंगे. That is not necessary. Okay, the personality term is derived from the word persona, which means mask used in Roman theatre to change their facial makeup. Okay, so now personality has three main characteristics. First is it has both physical and psychological components. बोथ फिजिकल एंड साइकोलॉजिकल कंपोनेंट्स होते हैं इसमें, कि हमारी फिजिकल कंपोनेंट भी आता है और हमारा मेंटल कंपोनेंट भी उसमें आ जाता है. मेन फीचर्स डू नॉट चेंज क्विकली. जो पर्सनालिटी का जो कोर पर्सनालिटी होती है दैट डज नॉट चेंज, दैट रिमेन्स द सेम. It is dynamic in the sense that some of its features may change internal or external situational demands. It is dynamic. Dynamic means that it keeps on shifting according to the situation. There is a constant change. That is why it is adaptive in nature. Second is major approaches to study personality. अब हम personality को कैसे पढ़ सकते हैं? So there are basically 6 main approaches: type approach, second trait approach, psychodynamic approach, behavioral approach, humanistic approach and cultural approach. शुरू करते हैं टाइप अप्रोच से. टाइप अप्रोच क्या थी? बेसिकली टाइप अप्रोच ये जानना चाहती थी कि ह्यूमन पर्सनालिटी एक सर्टन ब्रॉड पैटर्न पे चलती है जो कि ऑब्जर्व्ड बिहेवियर होता है एक इंडिविजुअल का. बिहेवियरल पैटर्न, हर एक बिहेवियरल पैटर्न एक टाइप बताता है पर्सनालिटी का. ओके, सो बेसिकली यहाँ पे हिपोक्रेट ने, जो कि एक ग्रीक फिजिशियन थे, उन्होंने पर्सनालिटी को फ्लूइड और ह्यूमर के बेसिस में सिग्निफाई किया, क्लासिफाई किया. उनका फर्स्ट क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ पर्सनालिटी था सैंग्विन, सेकंड फेलगमेटिक, थर्ड मेलनकॉलिक, फोर्थ क्लोरिक. हर एक के स्पेसिफिक फीचर्स थे, बिहेवियर फीचर्स थे. अब आता है हम इंडियन व्यू के बारे में अगर बात करें तो एक चरक संहिता थी जो आयुर्वेदा में है. अकॉर्डिंग टू आयुर्वेदा तो जो पीपल होते हैं, जो इंडिविजुअल्स होते हैं, वो 3 तरीके में क्लासिफाई हो सकते हैं. फर्स्ट इज वता, पिता एंड कपा. ये क्लासिफिकेशन ह्यूमर के बेसिस पे होता था, जिनको कहा जाता है त्रिदोष. हर एक टेम्परामेंट refers to type of temperament called prakriti of a nature. हर एक टेम्परामेंट of this classification was called the prakriti of the person. prakriti इंडियन वर्ड है जिसको हम बेसिक नेचर बोलते हैं, यानी वो एक बेसिक नेचर था इंडिविजुअल का. अब आते हैं हम ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ थ्री गुनास। अब ये तो चरक संहिता के अकॉर्डिंग हो गया। अब त्रिगुणा के अकॉर्डिंग क्लासिफाई हो जाती है। फर्स्ट इज सत्व, सेकंड रजस, थर्ड इज तमस। सत्व मीन्स an individual or a personality who believes in cleanliness, truthfulness, dutifulness, detachment, and discipline. All these characteristics are present in sattva kind of a personality. Second, rajas, desire for sense gratification is there, dissatisfaction is there, and also envy for others is also present in such type of personalities. थर्ड इज तमस, जहाँ पे एरोगेंस है, दे आर प्रोन टू डिप्रेशन, लेजीनेस, फीलिंग ऑफ हेल्पलेसनेस, एंगर, ये सारे कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स तमस काइंड ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी में आ जाते हैं। अब हमने ग्रीक फिलोसफी के बारे में जान लिया, इंडियन फिलोसफी के बारे में जान लिया कि कितने तरीके होते हैं। नाउ कम्स शेल्डन. He was a psychologist who further classified personality into three types, which is endomorphic, mesomorphic and ectomorphic. Endomorphic था वो पर्सनालिटी जिसका बेसिकली शेल्डन ने ये पर्सनालिटी बॉडी बिल्ड और टेम्परामेंट के बेसिस पे क्लासिफाई करी थी। सो एंडोमॉर्फिक की पर्सनालिटी वाले लोग कौन होते हैं? जिनका फिजिकल स्ट्रक्चर फैट होता है, दे आर सॉफ्ट एंड राउंड, ओके। बाय टेम्परामेंट दे आर वेरी रिलैक्स्ड एंड सोशलेबल। अब जो ये कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स जिसमें है अकॉर्डिंग टू शेल्डन, वो एंडोमॉर्फिक पर्सनालिटी होती है। नाउ कम्स मेसोमॉर्फिक. दे हैव अ स्ट्रॉन्ग मस्क्यूलेचर, मतलब उनका जो बॉडी बिल्ड होता है वो बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग होता है, उनके सॉल मसल्स टाइप वाला बॉडी स्ट्रक्चर होता है। आर रेक्टेंगुलर विद स्ट्रॉन्ग बॉडी बिल्ड, दे आर एनर्जेटिक एंड करेजियस। थर्ड इज ectomorphic. Ectomorphs, they such kind of personalities are by body build are very thin, long and fragile in body build, यानी बहुत पतले होते हैं, लंबे होते हैं और फ्रेजाइल होते हैं बॉडी स्ट्रक्चर में, फिजिकल बॉडी स्ट्रक्चर में। whereas टेम्परामेंट के हिसाब से दे आर वेरी आर्टिस्टिक, इंट्रोवर्ट एंड ब्रेनी. अब these qualities defines the third form of personality by Sheldon, that is ectomorph. Now we'll come on to Jung. Carl Jung classified people by grouping into introvert and extrovert. Basically कार्ल यूंग ने कहा था कि दो तरीके की पर्सनालिटी होती है. वन इज़ इंट्रोवर्ट, जो कि अलोन प्रेफर करते हैं, दे टेंड टू अवॉइड पीपल, आर शाय. एक्सट्रोवर्ट कौन होते हैं? जो सोशलेबल होते हैं, आउटगोइंग होते हैं, ड्रॉन टू, एंड बेसिकली दे चूज ऑक्यूपेशंस which allow them to deal directly with people. Comes Friedman and Roseman classified individuals into type A and type B personality. This is the fifth one. These two psychologists classified people into type A personality and type B personality. So type A personality कौन होते हैं? They are people who are high in motivation, lack of patience is there in such type of personality. They are always in hurry, feel short of time, feel like being burdened with work. If such type B personality कौन होते हैं? Absence of type A traits. अब जिस पर्सनालिटी में ये सारे ट्रेट्स नहीं होंगे, मतलब इसके ऑपोजिट होंगे, तो वो टाइप बी पर्सनालिटी आ जाएगी. नाउ फर्दर मॉरिस classified continued with these classifications. Friedman and Roseman ने type A type B दी थी. Further Morris came further and classified type C and type D personality as well. अब type C personality कौन से होते हैं? जो cooperative होते हैं, unassertive होते हैं और patient होते हैं. Suppress their feelings, especially negative feelings like anger. वो अपने negative feelings को suppress कर लेते हैं. Type D personality कौन होते हैं? They are prone to depression according to Morris. So these are the 5 types of theories in type approach. Now we'll come to trait approach. Following the trait approach, basically यहाँ पे 3 लोगों ने काम किया था. First is Alport, then Cattell theory. But basically trait approach क्या करती थी? This approach was basically concerned with the description or characteristics of basic component of personality. They basically looked for basic components जो होते हैं हर एक इंडिविजुअल में. अब एल्पोर्ट ने फर्स्ट थ्योरी ट्रेट थ्योरी निकाली थी. उसके अकॉर्डिंग तीन मेन पर्सनालिटीज़ होती हैं, ट्रेट्स होते हैं हमारी पर्सनालिटी में, कार्डिनल, सेंट्रल एंड सेकेंडरी. कार्डिनल होते हैं जो कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट ट्रेट होता है, दैट इज़ हैज़ टू बी देयर, जिसका वो एक लाइफ रूल बन जाता है इंडिविजुअल का. स्ट्रेंथ जो सेंट्रल लेस इम्पोर्टेंट ट्रेट्स. सेकेंडरी जो आती है, सेकेंडरी इज बेसिकली द प्रेफरेंस which is preferred, which is preference over something. So cardinal traits, these traits are highly generalized disposition. They are highly generalized disposition, indicate goals around which the person's entire life seems to resolve. Such traits often get associated with the name of a person so strongly that they derive such identities. Comes the central trait. Cattell, second person. Cattell की थ्योरी कहलाती थी पर्सनालिटी फैक्टर थ्योरी. Believe that there is common structure on which people differ from each other. According to Cattell, there is a common structure जो एक इंसान दूसरे इंसान से डिफर कर लेता है. He basically applied statistical technique called factor analysis to discover these common structures. अब ये common structures क्या हैं जिनकी वजह से एक इंडिविजुअल डिफर करता है दूसरे इंडिविजुअल से? ये है source traits and surface traits. So what are source traits and surface traits? Source traits are basically building blocks of personality. They are stable, okay? And surface traits are the result out of the interaction with other people, out of interaction of source traits. यानी फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर एक इंडिविजुअल में एग्रेशन है as a trait, so aggression is a source trait, but every individual has their own way of expressing that anger or expressing that aggression. So that way of expressing, that different way of expressing from one another is a surface trait. This theory कहलाती थी. Now we'll come to Ncert theory. जो Ncert साइकोलॉजिस्ट थे उन्होंने अपनी थ्योरी ट्रेट अप्रोच में दी. Now he said there are basically three broad personality dimensions. So first dimension is neuroticism versus emotional stability. So या तो एक इंडिविजुअल न्यूरोटिज्म की तरफ जा सकता है या तो वो इमोशनल स्टेबिलिटी की तरफ जा सकता है. इधर और वाला सिस्टम आ जाता है. या तो एक इंडिविजुअल एक्सट्रोवर्ट हो सकता है और या तो इंट्रोवर्ट. या तो वो साइकोटिज्म की तरफ होगा या तो वो सोशबिलिटी की तरफ होगा. इधर और सिस्टम वाला कॉन्सेप्ट आ जाता है यहाँ पे. अब न्यूरोटिज्म क्या होता है? Neuroticism refers to degrees to which people have control over their feelings. So there are people who do not have control over their feelings and there are people who have control over their feelings. That would come under emotional stability. Extroversion, people are socially outgoing or socially withdrawn. या तो people extrovert हो सकते हैं या तो वो introvert हो सकते हैं. Psychotism, people who are high on psychotism tends to be egocentric, antisocial or hostile, or they are sociable. They socialize well along with people. So basically to find out these either parts of the personality, Ncert personality questionnaire was developed by him. Now we'll come on to psychodynamic approach, which is a very important approach. Questions do come from this topic mainly. So first is Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud basically psychodynamic approach में आते हैं. He used free association or dream analysis in his approach. So what is free association? Free association was basically a method in which a person was asked to openly share his or her thoughts, feelings, and ideas. Dream analysis basically was used to understand the internal functioning of the mind. So अब यहाँ पे फ्रॉइड gave three theories. First is level of consciousness, जिसके अंदर he talked about conscious, pre-conscious, and unconscious. Basically, the conscious things are those which are we aware of, our actions or thoughts which we are aware of. Okay, whereas the pre-conscious is the mental activity of which people may become aware only if they attend to it closely, or they tend to, if they are reminded. That is pre-conscious. Now, unconscious is the act that people are not, thoughts or feelings that people are not aware of. They do it unconsciously. Okay, so psychoanalysis was his therapeutic procedure. So basically, the basic principle of this approach was to bring the repressed unconscious material to the conscious. Okay, so thereby helping the people to live in more of self-aware and more integrated manner. Now his second theory was structure of personality, where he talked about it, ego and superego. It was the pleasure principle, ego was the reality principle, and whereas the superego was the moral principle, how morally something is accepted or not accepted. So रियलिटी प्रिंसिपल में काम करता है हमारा ईगो और इड काम करता है प्लेजर प्रिंसिपल पे. So his third theory was stages of personality development, where he talked about 5 stages of personality development. 5 stages of development. One is oral stage, second anal stage, third phallic stage, fourth latency stage, and genital fifth stage. So he also talked about the word like fixation and regression. So a fixation is basically a failure of a child to pass successfully through a stage to fixation on that, leads to this fixation on that. So if any of this, in any of this stage, if a child fail to pass successfully, or child fails to pass successfully, that the child will be fixated in that particular stage. Okay, whereas the regression occurs when a person's resolution of problems at any stage of development is less adequate. In this situation, people display behaviors typical of a less mature stage of development. यानी वो अपने maturity से less stage में behaviors दिखाते हैं. Freud concept. Now we will come on to post-Freudian or new analytic theorists who worked on the work of Freud. So there were 5 people: Carl Jung, Alfred Adler, Erik Eriksson, and Karen Harnai. These were the people who further worked on Freud approach. So Carl Jung saw human beings as much guided by aims and aspirations. So he said that जो individuals हैं वो अपने aim and aspirations से चलते हैं. His theory of personality was called Analytical Psychology. It stated that personality consists of competing forces and structures within the individual rather than between the individual and the demands of the society. जो पर्सनालिटी होती है एक इंडिविजुअल की, वो अपने ही कॉम्पिटिंग फोर्सेस से डील करती है, दैट इज देयर इन द इंडिविजुअल इटसेल्फ. ओके, not between the society or the individual. He talked about collective unconscious and personal unconscious. So what is collective unconscious? It is that aspect of unconscious which manifests inherited universal themes which run through all human life, okay, which are universal. Whereas the personal unconscious is the aspect of psyche which does not usually enter the individual's awareness and which appear in overt behavior or in dreams. The person is not aware that is there in him or her, but it is visible in the overt behavior of an individual, like it will come in the dreams or any other way. Conscious, collective, unconscious are also the archetypes and primordial images. So, what are primordial images? They basically reflect the pattern or universal themes common to us, which are common to us and which are present in unconscious. Now, Karen Horney talked about self actualization. So, basically, according to her, neither male or nor female can be viewed as superior and inferior. Nobody is superior and nobody is inferior. So, according to her, psychological disorders are caused by disturbed interpersonal relationships during childhood. So, she said that if any of the individual has any kind of a disturbed relationship, he or she is prone to psychological disorders. Now we will talk about Alfred Adler. So his theory was known as individual psychology. Basic assumption of his theory was that human behavior is purposeful and goal directed. जो ह्यूमन बिहेवियर है वो एक पर्पसफुल है और गोल डायरेक्टेड होता है. सो हर एक इंडिविजुअल में कैपेसिटी होती है चूज और क्रिएट करने की. अब what is there which motivates this purpose or goal directed behavior is the personal goal of an individual. According to him, every individual suffers from feeling of inadequacy and guilt. So there is inferiority complex in every individual. So nobody is spared from that, which arises from childhood. Now, Erik Fromm and Erik Eriksson. So these two people were also post-Freudian psychologists. So first is Erik Fromm. According to him, humans are social beings. Personality traits develop from our experiences. Erik Fromm said that our personality traits are the experiences of our individuals with other individuals. He argued that psychological qualities such as growth and realization of potential resulted from the desire of freedom and striving for justice and truth. That means that psychological qualities जो होती हैं जैसे growth and realization of our own potentials is the result from our freedom, desire for freedom and striving for justice and truth. Now, Erik Eriksson basically viewed personality as a lifelong process. That from since when the child is born till the death is the development happens. So development never stops. Ego identity in his theory played an important role in development. So identity crisis, especially at adolescent, has to be given focus on. He argued that people must generate for themselves central perspective and direction for meaningful life. That everybody should have a central perspective and direction to have a meaningful life. Now coming on to the behavioral approach. So basically behavioral approach, according to behavioral approach, human behaviors are learned. Every behavior is learned. So when a behavior is learned, it can also be unlearned and then new behaviors can be learned on its place. So behaviorism is concerned with observable and measurable aspects of behavior. So behaviors are observable and measurable aspects of human behavior. So behavioral approach also believed in a lifelong process, that it is a development as a lifelong process. So who all worked in behavioral approach? Pavlov, Skinner and Bandura. These three famous psychologists were the people who worked on behavioral approach. Now coming to cultural approach. So basically in cultural approach, mind plays an important role. So mind and culture are inseparable. So you cannot separate your mind from a culture or culture from your mind. So people are shaped from their culture and their culture is also shaped by them. इंडिविजुअल जो इंडिविजुअल होता है, कल्चर प्लेज एन इम्पोर्टेंट रोल इन हैविंग द पर्टिकुलर टाइप ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी. ओके, सो कल्चर shaped individuals' personality, or individuals' personality had an impact on culture. So it is a vice versa. It considers personality as an adaptation of individuals or groups to a demand to their ecology and culture. So it consider personality as an adaptation. So it believe that personality जो है वो adaptation है which has come from the demand of their ecology and culture. Okay. Coming to humanistic approach, so Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow were the two main psychologists who worked under humanistic approach. So according to Carl Rogers, the concept of fully functioning person came in. So what is a fully functioning person? Fulfillment is a motivating force for personality development. Fulfillment जो होता है वो एक motivating force है in the development of personality of an individual. So people try to express their capabilities, potentials and talent to the fullest extent. यानी अगर एक individual को opportunity दी जाए या नहीं दी जाए, वो अपनी कैपेबिलिटीज़ और पोटेंशियल को, टैलेंट को फुल्ली एक्सप्रेस करने की क्षमता रखता है. Two major assumptions of humanistic approach are behavior is a goal directed and worthwhile. People who are innately good will always choose adaptive and self-actualizing behavior. People who are innately good यानी जो शुरू से people जो internally और externally good होते हैं वो adaptive behavior choose करेंगे और self-actualizing behavior choose करेंगे. Maslow की self-actualizing theory, you remember, that is where self-actualizing behavior comes from. So next, Roger also gave a concepts like unconditional positive regard and client-centered therapy. So what is unconditional positive regard? It is showing complete acceptance of a person no matter what a person does or say. यानी proper full acceptance without any disagreement. You accept a person's behavior or whatever that person says. Such environment should be created so that the persons can achieve self-concept or understand the self-concept. Okay, so when introduced client-centered therapy, so his therapies are basically known as, the therapy is also known as client-centered therapy, where the therapist and the client is there and the therapist accepts fully no matter what the clients say or do. Without any condition, they accept the behavior of the client. So in this therapy, he said that unconditional positive regard होना ही चाहिए, so that जो client आपसे counseling करवाने आ रहा है, therapy लेने आ रहा है, वो अपने सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट को और अच्छे से बना सके या बढ़ा सके.